Hi, it's Steve Simmons. Welcome to this video presentation, The Art of Reading Greens. I created this presentation as a complement to the instruction that we have in Making Practice Pay Off. We spend a great deal of time talking about reading greens, slope, grain, all the things that help you become a better putter and making more putts. And so I wanted to create a visual reference of some of the things that we address in that instruction. You know, when you get to the green, one of the first things that we have to do is we have to figure out, is there any slope? If there's no slope, then all putts around the hole, because it's a flat area, are all straight. So if I'm coming up this way, you know, that's a straight putt. If I'm coming down this way, then that becomes a straight putt. If I'm coming from over here, these are all straight putts because there's no slope around the hole. But that's not, I mean, more typically we're going to have slope. We're going to have to figure that out. So that's one of the things that you've got to learn. You know, slope, trickle distance, channel putting versus line putting, and speed versus line are the things that we're going to discuss today. So in dealing with slope, I know on this particular green that there is a line like this representing the fall line. The fall line is because of the slope. All balls rolling on this green right in this area are going to turn and go down the slope like this. This line that I've drawn in represents the fall line. The fall line is a place where the cup is, because there are other fall lines that we would find on this green. Here's a fall line here. There's a fall line over here. But those are not relevant to what we're trying to deal with and trying to read on this particular putt. We're only concerned about this one. And the fall line is a place on the green where a ball rolling will roll straight through the cup due to the influence of gravity. If it misses, it will just continue straight down this line for whatever length of distance is, and it relates to the amount of slope. So that the greater the slope, the farther this ball will roll down this line. But it will roll straight down that line because it's the fall line, and that becomes very important to our putting. Another thing that becomes important is trickle distance. We want all of our putts to end, you know, if we're putting straight down, they're putting down this line, if we miss the cup, we want it to go about 12 to 15 inches past the hole. That's the optimum speed to overcome any surface irregularities, footprints, and so on that would help us, the ball, stay on that line. The amount that it goes beyond that line because of the slope is considered to be trickle distance. And in this particular case, this putt has about that much extra trickle distance to it. Okay, so that's the added distance that ball will roll out because of the slope. It's not a lot, and that becomes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, becomes much more important as the slope gets more severe. So the trickle distance is this much, which means that we're going to draw that line right in there. That represents the amount of distance between that represents the trickle on this particular hole. Okay, so we want the ball to intersect this fall line no further out than that point right there. The amount of the trickle that's on the fall line. We know that this is, you know, based on the amount of slope we have, that this is the point right here that we would be aiming at to get the ball, and that's roughly the same distance as that line right there. So if we take and put that line right there, then basically we're going to aim here, and then as the ball rolls down this way, slope and gravity are going to take over and going to pull it this direction. We want it, depending upon how fast it's going, to intersect this line. If it's going real slow and it's just starting to trickle, it can be out here. If it's carrying a little bit more speed, we want it to be closer to the hole, or even actually in this area here. Okay, so that's the importance of trickle and slope. One of the important things is that most good players don't get fixated on this line. Higher handicappers do. I mean, some people get, and the poor putters, they fixate so much on this line they become line conscious instead of speed conscious. Good putters see a ball on either side of this line that represents a channel, and they're just trying to get the ball inside the channel and then let that ball feed down to the hole. The channel is represented as a ball up here on the top of the cup that comes up and is over here like this, and a ball down here on the lower side of the cup that comes up and is on this side. It's basically 4 inches, and it goes the entire length of the putt. This line is in the middle of that to this point, and then as it starts to break down, we want to be in that channel heading down for our greatest chance of success. Now, a lot of people, you'd ask them, so which is more important, line or speed? And a lot of golfers will say, well, line is more important, because if I putt on this line, I have a greatest chance of going in. But that's true only if you've got your speed right. If I don't hit the ball hard enough to get beyond this point, the line is of little consequence. And if by the same token, if I take and hit a putt that's on that same relative line that's going to go 8 feet past, I hit it with enough speed that it'll go 8 feet past the hole. Once it gets to the cup, it's just going to fly right over the top of the cup and continue on its path. So the answer is speed is more critical, with secondary consideration given to the line of the putt. Clearly we want that to be generally on the right line to get started, but it doesn't have to be on the perfect line. If it has the right speed, it'll go in. So let me clear all this out of here and redraw a couple lines for you here. So this is our fall line. We know that this is the trickle distance line because we had talked about that up here, that the trickle distance was about this far on this particular hole, and we know that this is our aiming point out here. So if we take and draw a straight line from that point to here, that becomes our target line. Okay, so what we want to do, our goal in this is to get the ball traveling down this line like this, and then to get inside the slot in the channel, and then let slope and gravity take over and pull it to the left. Now let's go look at some examples of how this might work with three different putts. Okay, I'll get in here with my putter. Okay, so I'm going to hit the first putt, and it's going to be tracking down the line. You'll notice right there, it's like was right in the slot, right through here. It's on the bottom side, but it's still in the slot. And then as it continues on, it's going to intersect with the fall line right there, and boom, right into the hole. Okay, now let's look at the second example. We're going to hit the putt, and it's going to be a little outside of the line, but it could still, if it was the right speed, it could still start, the gravity could be pulling it up or pulling it down the slope like this. The problem is that in this particular example, the putt's hit too firmly. It intersects the line right there when it should be down here, and then it will, because of that, it will continue on and will miss the cup on the high side. And then if we go to the third, and probably the most compelling example of these three, we'll take and hit this putt, and what you'll see is that the ball, once it gets into the gate, is like right on the line. Okay, it's like dead center, and if you continue watching, it's like that ball is going to go in. I mean, it is absolutely tracking right down the slot. The problem is that the putt is not hit with sufficient force, and so it intersects the fall line down there as opposed to up here. So if that ball had been hit just a little bit harder, it would have come in and intersected right down in here and would have gone in. So there's three examples there of the importance of getting the ball started on the right line and then letting, getting it into the channel and then letting the slope and the speed of the putt intersect the fall line and go in. Okay, something that's of real importance here I want to talk about real quickly, and that is the trickle thing, because we already talked about that. If there's a trickle, let me draw a trickle in up here. If I know that putt is going to, I've seen putts that if they're tracking down through here and they're on this line and they just barely miss the hole and they're just barely rolling, will continue and continue rolling 8 to 10 feet. If that's the case, then we've got to make sure that we compensate for that. So we look up here and say, okay, if this is the trickle distance here, then we want to make sure that that ball is on the fall line and going straight down the fall line an equal amount. So that would mean then that we would want to take and aim up the hill like this. The ball will actually start losing speed right in here, will then turn and then start heading back down the slope. It's very important that we get that ball way up here in order to let it start trickling down the line, down the fall line this way, which will give us a chance of leaving the ball right in this area if we don't make the putt. Otherwise, if we start that ball out here like this, that thing's going to turn and take off, and it'll be, because of the momentum it's going to be carrying through here, that ball will be 15, 20 feet from the hole by the time it's done. So it's very, very important part of all this. So a couple things to think about. One is the gate drill. We talk about that at length in Making Practice Pay Off. It's a great way of focusing on this gate and this channel and then speed through this area so that even if you don't make the putt, at least you're putting it in the channel with the right amount of speed. Speed is critical in learning how to do these putts. And so you'll want to spend some time on the gate drill. You'll also want to spend some time doing conversion putts where you do the magic circle practice, the 3-foot deal, and you want to hit some long putts that have the break to them that end up inside the magic circle. And the other thing is some speed drills to help you learn how to lag putt to certain distances so that then you can then give it the best opportunity to get back on the line and to break down that fall line. So I know this will be very helpful to you if you spend some time on the gate drill, the magic circle drill, and some speed lag putting drills. You'll learn how to get that ball starting down through the channel and then let slope and gravity pull it and intersect with the fall line. It's real important to learn how to read this fall line, and you can do that like Phil Mickelson does by walking around the hole. If he's walking this way, all these putts are going to look like they're breaking like this. If he's on this side of the hole, they'll all look like they're breaking like this. At some point, they'll look straight, and that's the fall line. So I hope this helps you out. Good luck, and I know that you'll start making more putts using this technique.